Everything that I will be speaking of today is all in the handout, or this, what do you call this, program, but I just had to compress it. And if you have any questions, I won't answer them, let the director and the other organizers answer them. So we're now putting everything into a synthesis, and so that we don't forget much, I try to put it all in PowerPoint material with some emphasis. Okay? Where's this one? Up, no? Lowest. Yan. 2017 grade design synthesis here, 27-28 September. So this is our cover design, or head design. So the summary sessions for the first day, as I said this morning, we had 3 welcoming guests. Our very own Chancellor, and the Director, our own Chancellor, Dr. Fernando Sanchez, Dr. Hill Sagigit, the Director of SEARCA, and Dr. Rex D. Macialis, the Vice Chancellor for Research and Extension, UP Los Baños. These 3 most respected dignitaries in this campus really focused altogether the importance of the museum, and also mentioned from among their areas of jurisdiction and authority the importance of networking for the efforts of museum collections, strengthening of educational programs, endearing the museum to the people and bringing the people close to the collections, and also giving more support to efforts for research that would strengthen the values of those collections or collectibles that are found in the museum, making or ensuring their maintenance for not only within the years of our own generation, but even after the generations when we, in this venue, are all gone, and the next generations will be watching all of those collections that we have worked on. And then for the plenary speakers, we had Ms. Maribing Santos speaking on the Philippine Natural History Museum, and also again mentioning on the emergence of or development of their new Museum of Natural History to be launched this coming Saturday, and emphasizing also the position of man and his environment in the museum, and giving importance to the Philippine Museum of Natural History as being the most comprehensive collection agency for natural heritage and natural collections. And then Mr. Amado Alvarez, head of the National Committee on Museums and the Cultural Heritage on the National Commission for Culture and Arts, had extensive explanations on how national programs for natural history collections can be more strengthened, especially with good understanding of the human nature and how these scientific materials can really reach the mindset as well as the heart set of the people. Hindi niya sinabi, pero inisip ko lang kasi nasabi niya. He explained all those cycles of learning and understanding and caring and valuing. If you remember the round thing that he placed in there, okay, it's a series of interactions happening in the human mindset, and he really gave value to natural history museums. For the international standards of Philippine natural history collections, again, we saw a very good example of how natural history museums are well managed in Edinburgh, with the presentation of Dr. Graham Charles George Argent, and their practices, like for example, freezing, maintenance of environmental conditions on temperature and humidity, and barcoding and proper documentations, systematic piling, compiling, and accumulation of database, and having one of the oldest herbarium collections of about The museum is 350 years, the herbarium is 200 years. Good memory, right? And then you remember that. And then ASEAN efforts in building biodiversity information collections by Dr. Polisco has also emphasized there are many, many outstanding efforts from the ACB on how they bring together or bring close to the people in the ASEAN the importance of biodiversity information through many practices such as trainings, support, education, and many other programs that really help in, especially in biodiversity information and collections. And of course, Dr. Monutaling, being the representative of the DNR and director of the BMB, has emphasized the importance of the implications or implementation of the Wildlife Act and the NIPAS Act that would serve as guide for us, especially in the collections of natural history materials. And also there was a question on ownership of collections prior to the implementations of those acts, and there was a clear answer that it is voluntary, but it is best recommended that our national museum should at least be considered as the primary collector of those Philippine natural history heritage. Okay? And of course, for that first day, we just saw how all of these plenary speakers would have converged all of their thoughts and experiences to emphasize that museums of natural history are indeed very, very important. No matter how old, no matter how small, no matter how far, no matter how, sometimes how poor they can be. But if these are properly documented, they are very important, of greatest value, scientific data that gives us great historical information, especially for the things that we are trying to learn now. Okay? Because those relationships of organisms will always be there. Okay? And also, ito pala yung questions na unahan ko. This was the first question, and then the second question is the question of James about there is no standard GP requirement in every region. Seemingly, the gratuitous permit is necessary for collections of items when we go out to the field for research, and it has been experienced that every region would have its different practice or demands for requirements. So Dr. Munditalim said, okay, report to us. It is best for us to standardize all those practices. And we know for a fact that the BMB is working with the scientists, the experts, really to help them consolidate all of those standard practices so that we can come up with something like one book guide to follow in every part of this country for our collections, which is to be implemented by any agency. There are three agencies in authority for our collections: the DA, the Department of Agriculture, the DNR, and PCSD. And there has to be one synchronous and single mode of policy and procedures to help facilitate scientists do the best of their research capability and, emphasize the value of all the natural resources of this country and give it high value and protect it for a long time and forever, if ever. Okay? And then there's a question on despite the heritage law, there should be MOAs to assign careholders. This was raised by Dr. Lee, and he said, we are very much confident that the UPLB Museum is able to take care of its collections. And it was answered by Ms. Maribel Santos that, yeah, they are not yet confident enough to take in that, but they are gearing toward that because their new Museum of Natural History is coming up. And when they have that confidence, then they will invite and even accept people who are trying to offer their collections. This is important, especially for the collections of holotypes. There was even a mention of we should not be putting all our eggs in one basket to ensure protections and all of that. But the importance is that those collections should be protected and maintained through many generations. Now, the technical working group, we had 3 themes anyway, which guided us for the technical discussions, the paper presentations, the poster presentations, and even the workshops. We were divided into 3. The first technical group is one entitled Status of Academic-Based Natural History Collections. Among the 5 presenters, 2 discussed on the herbarium, 1 discussed on zooarchaeology, 1 discussed on entomology, 1 on a mix of flora and fauna. And the zooarchaeology poster pa lang nabigyan ng presentation. So these ones were the discussions in the technical group 1. For the technical group 2, the best practices in collections management in the Philippine setting. The curriculum course Bio 192 was first discussed and presented. There were 4 papers on entomology and 1 paper on the herbarium pertaining to the best practices in collections management. And then the technical working group 3 for understanding the museum, understanding natural history, museums, and public interaction. Focus were given to the MNH education program, what we do here right in UPLB Museum of Natural History. There was also a discussion on how the UP land grant in Quezon and Laguna land grant in Paete are being managed now to engage more research and open to the public for more exposures, especially to interested students and researchers at the same time. One question I raised here was at the time in the late 80s, I was bringing students and then the NPA were there and killed the guard and, attacked the cashier yata, and he transferred to the Museum of Natural History, and I never went back there anymore. But our discussant said, it's now a better place, ma'am. It's very safe, and you can go there, visit it again. You're most welcome. And so I said, okay, let me have my time, I'll go. And then the FPRDI Sanarium, or the wood collection, is right here, beside the Museum of Natural History. And then the DLS, Dasmariñas campus, Bird Sanctuary was a paper presenting how they identify the bird species in the campus, and the UPLB Museum of Natural History spider social media named Arachnophilus captive spiral web was discussed and is currently curated by Dr. Amy Dupo. If you want to be a member, just tap it, tell them you want to be a member, and they will screen you out, and if you are qualified, they take you in. Okay. And then poster themes, I wrote them all. There's 4 in the status of academic-based natural history museums. The one in Baguio. The green one here is received a special award. There were 3 awardees among the poster groups. And this is the archaeological botanical reference collection in UPLB. There's the presentation of the floral inventory of Polytechnic University of the Philippines, the Philippine National Herbarium. Experience through many years, as it is the most, aside from University of Santo Tomas, of course, no? This is among the oldest and most comprehensive collection in the country. And then the herbarium collections, a gold mine of data for determining species variation using leaf architecture, focusing on the vine designs of leaves. The pictures are there at the back. And then you have the student-based collections in the UP Biology and Vertebrate Museum, revealing dipteroid diversity in an urban forest frontlet. Many of our actually academic-based natural history collections normally work with students. We go out to field trip, we collect, and then we teach our students how to number, how to label, and then we bring them in, we study, and then eventually we give it to the museum. It was easier during my time when I was a student. Hindi kailangan ng gratuitous permit. So, medyo magaan-gaan, madali, walang masyadong problema. Pero now, of course, we are not against that. It's a positive action of the government to give a proper monitoring of the things that we have out there and how we should be protecting them. So most of these are student related, either research items or research collections. And then the status of the Western Philippine Museum was also discussed. And then the veterinary exhibit halls here at the College of Veterinary Medicine, where they have 3 small museums on parasites, on anatomy, and on pathology. Tama, okay. And then the case study on the status and challenges of the academy-based animal collections in Cebu. And then the current status of the Philippine mollusk curation and research. And then the Natural History Museum database, and the Wadazean shortfall, which focuses or emphasized the very fact that there is kind of a bias in the collections of mollusks and mollusca, phytomollusca, yes, the bivalves and the gastropods. Na nakita ko lang sa picture is on the upper north side of the Philippines, there is very less collection. Collections are toward the Visayas and Mindanao region. But in terms of species diversity also, there is higher red color down there in the south and in the Visayan region. So their study is very much interesting. That study was simply based on existing collections at the Delaware. And then a Natural History Museum database, century old but new, discovering the novel Iniopterine crickets. This is from the biological institutions of the Natural History Museum collections. And then the status of Fulgoromorpha was done here in UPLB by Dr. Sheng. The phytological collections of the MSUIIP Museum, which is a prelude to the Mindanao biodiversity. And then the next would be, in the poster, theme 2, we only had 2 posters in best practices in collections management in the Philippine setting. I was really wondering why no one was having good practice, only these 2. Or everybody, and not everybody was confident enough to say, we're doing this, and this is our good practice now. Kahit ng organization, we were wondering why there are only 2 presentations here. But anyway, there were 6 presentations in the oral group anyway. So we have the second one, the not collecting as the awarding for these posters. The first one is emphasizing the importance or the use of photo brochures as alternative to specimens aiding in the making of a preliminary changes. This one also, the not collecting as, also emphasized photo materials because they dug up murals here. If you read the paper or the poster. And the third is understanding natural history museums and public interactions. There were 6 of them. Small matters in science education in biodiversity conservation by the De La Salle University. The mobile museum boxes of the National Herbarium. Exploring the use of service quality in assessing UPLB Museum of Natural History by UPLB. This was by Flor Cruz. And then the UP NIGS UPGAA Geology Museum. Presenting the challenges that they went through in a decade of the establishment of the and maintenance of the Geology Museum. And the leaf art for all ages was the awarding for this. The ones that were making roses out of leaves. Yung picturesque poster. And then the Saving Nemo, which is doing its best, a new best alternative campaign approach to bring people into awareness, especially of natural treasures. And then I did a very, very fast recap this morning. I hope I was able to put it in 5 minutes. They said no. And then but these 3 are our good plenary presenters this morning, bridging gaps between Philippine natural history players and among stakeholders by Dr. Lawrence Liao from Hiroshima University, And then Enhancing the Role of Natural History Collections in Science and Environment by Dr. Arvin Desmos of the National Museum of the Philippines, and Making Natural History Collections Relevant to the Public by Dr. Juan T. Carlos. I was trying to put it all together. How do I synthesize these three? And I said, okay, Dr. Yao's paper puts us in an international perspective of a good museum collection and experience where there is much money, there is relatively more money, where there is high technology, where there is good, possibly good practice, but some problems like, what was that playing, yung game sa card, poker, where people are poker, the main problem is the poker-faced attitude of not communicating and not sharing well. And then, but of course they were able to surmount that, although he actually focused on the Philippine perspective. Ito siya, Singapore siya, nandun tinitingnan niya yung Pilipinas, ito yung problema ng Pilipinas. Pasok si Arvin, nasa Pilipinas siya, pero nandun siya sa tuktok ng Pilipinas kasi nasa Museum of Natural History siya, and he looks at that. And he has shown that the Philippine National Museum kind of a difficult agency where it used to be that they had very limited funds and support, and their collections actually went through a very, very difficult, still going through a very difficult process. They have problems of collection maintenance and management. They have to change their bottles from yung rusty covered bottles until now that they get funds and they get better bottles. And also yung transferring from rustic old corners of the museum. Pinakita niyo yung picture ng isa nilang curator na tambakan talaga yung kwarto niya, no? And to their dream new building of the Philippine National Museum. So they're moving up and they're finally getting, actually they got funds already and they just need to implement that and manage that properly for spending for the right things, of course. Giving us a beautiful full perspective of a better or a well-managed natural history museum, which eventually we could be very proud of. I know very sure that many of us have never been really had a very good attitude toward the Philippine National History Museum. We have seen their collections and we were sad about that. But we know that as one country we should be able to be very positive on this, support it, and pray that these people can really work together. Because sila yung umbrella natin eh. Sila yung consolidating agency natin among all our collections in the whole country. And in fact, there's a good partnership. And then here, of course, our own director, making natural history collections relevant to the public, how he made the success stories and the existing projects and programs of the UPLB Museum of Natural History, which came into a very, very dynamic personality because of the good leadership of the directors and bringing in more strategies for making the museum value and museum collections of greater relevance to the local people. Nandun nga yung motto na bringing the nature close to the people and the people close to nature. And so, ayun yon, from high to middle to down below, ground practices, middle national practices, and high-level natural practices. Iisa naman ang sinasabi, the museums are very, very important. We need to have a good systematic way of managing them. We should be looking at best practices. And we should also be, sabi ni Dr. Yao, knock and the door shall be open. You don't knock, you don't ask for funds. You don't ask for funds, they are just there waiting. Present to them, let them know that you are capable of good management and you are capable of good things or accomplishments, then they will all come. So, I'm inviting you, lakasan lang ang loob yan, no? Bring your guts out and can be done because as he said, that's our experiences and all we just need to, all we have to do is take time and do something to provide for what big agencies can support and can give time and money for possibilities. And then of course we were divided into workshop presentations. I displaced the name of our facilitators and rapporteurs, and the summary was presented by Dr. Ryan De Chavez. I won't have to repeat those summary anymore. I just need to emphasize that yes, everybody agreed that we need a networking. We need to do some very specific actions like making sure that every person in this facility and in this room, except when they say no, should be a registered member of the network. Tama? Dapat there should be a proper documentation. Gagawa na tayo ng website natin, gagawa na tayo ng communications facility natin. Ang lahat ng hindi sasali tulog at hindi nag-sign ng registration kasi wala kayong internet. Yung mga hindi pa nagre-register, hindi kayo kasali dito. Oh, take note. Wala kayo doon kasi wala kayo sa document ng ating summit. So please be involved, and then of course, yun I would deem in the very near future there will be calls for key people to do workshops on setting standardized modes of practice. Call on people who would be saying, hey guys, please come here to our little museum, train us on collections, train us on proper cataloging, train us on more practices, or hey guys, can we come to the UPLB museum, or can we go to the National Museum of Natural History to undergo training? Can we come as a group? Those questions will be raising in our website, and of course, it will be possible and it can be done. We just need to, sabi ni Dr. Yap, knock and it shall be open. Seek and you shall find. Ask and it shall be given to you. So, tama ba? And then of course, another inspiring presentation by Dr. CLADES about the beauty. Nakanganga ako nung present yung agri-museum. It is high level. Parang ganun din yung Philippine National Museum in the coming days. So let's look forward to that. Everybody here hopefully is inspired. Everybody here hopefully is very much willing to go on and continue. But in our research and in our efforts for collections, let us not forget, we are doing it for the Filipino people. So the Filipino people should understand what we are doing. And as they understand, they value. And as they value, they will care. And as they will care, they will protect and work